Hi viewers, welcome to All4 e-learning and welcome back to class 8 physics 4th session. In the previous classes, we have discussed about what is force, types of forces, contact force, non-contact forces and net force, free body diagram, how to calculate net force in a free body diagram. All these things we have discussed in the previous classes. And the next topic is effects of the force. I already said that we cannot see the force, but we can see the effects of the force. Now let us discuss these effects of the force in the today's class. Effects of the force. The first point is force can move, force can cause motion in a stationary object. Force can cause a motion in a stationary object. Yeah, stationary object. The meaning of stationary object is that the object which is at a rest position. So the thing is, the meaning of this sentence, the meaning is there within the sentence here. If any body is at rest, if we apply force, then the body can able to move forward or backward. So the thing is here, initially the body is at rest position unless or until if we apply force, then only the body will be set into the motion. Let me give few examples to understand. Okay, the first example I want to give is, let's say a book is placed on a table. It will remain at rest. For suppose if you want to move the book, you have to apply force. Initially the book is at rest position. Now you are applying the force to move this book. Let's say second example, lifting a bucket. Initially the bucket is at rest position. Now you are applying the force to lift the bucket vertically upwards. You can move a toy car. You can also move a book or pen, whatever it may be. I hope you understand this. In all the examples which I said now, initially the body is at rest position. You can also move a chair. The thing is, initially the position of the chair is at rest position. Not only in the case of the chair, in the examples which I said now, in all the cases the object initially it is at rest position. After applying the force, there is a cause in motion in that case. I hope you understand this. Now second one, force can stop a moving object. Force can stop a moving object. The thing is, for example, a football player kicks the football towards the goal post. The goalkeeper applies force to stop this football. The thing is, initially the ball is in motion. Now we are applying force to stop this football. Let's one more example let me give. When brakes are applied, the moving bicycle stops. The thing is, initially the bicycle is in motion. When you apply brakes, the bicycle comes to rest position. I hope you are following the class. Let's say one more example let me give. A ball is moving on the surface. The ball can come to rest position on its own. It is just because of force of friction. The force of friction already we have discussed in the previous class. Force of friction means the force which is applied opposite to the direction of the motion. Initially the ball is in motion. Now the thing is, the ball can come to rest on its own. It is just because of the frictional force. Let me give one more example. A moving ball can come to rest position and finally it stops after applying force with our hands. If we apply force with our hands, the moving ball can come to rest position. These are the examples. Force can stop a moving object. Next, third one is force can change the direction of the motion. Force can change the direction of moving object. So the thing is here, already the body is in motion. Now if you apply force, its direction changes. Let me give few examples in this case. Let's say a batsman hits a ball. Now the direction of the ball changes after applying the force. Nothing but when he is trying to hit the ball, nothing but he is applying force with his bat on the ball. So the direction of the force changes. Let me give one more example. When a tennis player returns a service, he or she need to apply force to change the direction of the force here. I hope you understand this point also. So force can change the direction of a moving object. Let me give one more effect of the force. Force can increase the speed of a moving object. Force can increase the speed of a moving object. Yeah, again within the sentence the meaning is there. The thing is, already the object is in motion. If you apply force, if you add force to this object, the speed of the object increases. Let me give one example in this case. When you apply more force on the pedals, the thing is, the bicycle moves fast. One more example, let me say. When you, let's say football is moving towards the goal post. A football player just come nearby this football, and when he kicks, then the football increases its speed, and so that the football can move very fast to the goal post. Let me give one more example. When you push a moving swing, the swing moves very fast. So the thing is, initially the object is in motion. Now you are applying an extra force on this object so that the speed of the object increases. Let me give one more effects of the force. The last one. A force can change the shape and size of the object. Shape and size of the object. So again you can see here, if you apply force on any object, its shape and size changes. With the help of few examples, let us understand this concept also. Kneading a flour. While making chapati, you apply force on this wheat flour and you will get a dough. Nothing but kneading a flour. After kneading the flour, you will get a dough. So after that you can make a chapatis. Pressing the toothpaste tube. If you press the toothpaste tube, then the toothpaste comes out of this tube. So you are pressing this, you are applying force. So finally the shape of the toothpaste tube changes. Folding the paper, folding the cloths. In all the cases, you are applying force to change the shape and size of these objects. In all the cases, you need to apply force in order to change the shape and size of the objects. I hope you understand this concept. These are nothing but effects of the force. We can see all these effects, but we cannot see the applied force. I hope you understand this concept. Okay, so far we discussed about the effects of the force. With the help of few examples, we understand the effects of the force. Next topic is the pressure. What is this pressure? What do you mean by this pressure? The thing is, when a force is applied on any object perpendicular to the surface, force is applied on any object perpendicular to the surface is known as pressure. The thing is, when you apply force on any object, there some disturbance creates. That disturbance is known as pressure. The force applied on an object perpendicular to its surface is called pressure. So the thing is, force is acting on an object perpendicular to its surface, which is known as pressure, and the pressure formula, pressure is equal to force by area. Force by area. Perpendicular force here. Pressure is equal to perpendicular force by area. This perpendicular force is also called normal force. In the previous class already I said about this. When a force is acting perpendicular to its surface, then that is known as normal force. Nothing but force only. So pressure is equal to force by area. So I can write like this. Pressure is equal to F by A. This is the formula for the pressure. Now the units of the pressure, means pressure is expressed in terms of what? The SI unit of the pressure. The SI unit of pressure is, force SI unit is Newton, area SI unit is meter square. So Newton per meter square SI unit. Newton per meter square is also called Pascal, capital P small a. This Newton per meter square is also said to be Pascal. Next, CGS units of pressure. CGS unit of force is dyne. In the last class already we discussed, and area CGS unit is centimeter square, dyne per centimeter square. Pressure definition and its formula and its SI unit and CGS unit. Pressure is nothing but when force is applied on a surface perpendicular to its surface is known as pressure. Now we shall discuss more about this pressure now with the help of few examples. As I said that pressure is equal to force by area. Now we can say that pressure depends on two factors, force and area. So pressure is directly proportional to force and pressure is inversely proportional to area. From this formula we can say that pressure depends on two factors, force and area. Pressure is directly proportional to force and pressure is inversely proportional to the area. Now the thing is, look at here, pressure is directly proportional to the force. Let's say on a given surface area, if force applied is less, if F is less, then pressure creating there also less on a given surface area. Means area is constant here. I am keeping area as constant. Now I am increasing the force or decreasing the force. The first case I decreased the force. The pressure created is less. Again, on a given surface area, if force acting is more, the pressure creating is also more here. Because pressure and force both are directly proportional to each other. So if one factor increases, so the pressure also increases, the other factor also increases. If one factor decreases, the other factor also decreases, because both are directly proportional to each other. Next, moving to this area. For a given applied force, now I am taking force as constant. For a given applied force, if area increases, If area increases, here area is there in denominator, nothing but pressure is inversely proportional to the area, inversely proportional. If area increases, then the pressure decreases. Both are inversely proportional to each other. So if one factor increases, the other factor decreases here. If area increases, if area decreases, then the pressure increases. For a given force, if area of contact decreases, then pressure created will be more. So I can say that finally the pressure depends upon two factors. One is directly proportional to the pressure, the other factor, area of contact, is inversely proportional to the pressure here. I hope you understand this. Now let me give few examples. Let's take a pen. Imagine that this is a pen. You can have two ends. One is a sharp end and another one is a round end. Sir, I need a pen. Cut chain, sir. Okay. Let's say with the help of few examples, let me explain this pressure. Okay. Now I have a pen in my hand. Now you can see here two ends. The pen is having two ends. One is the rounded end, another one is the sharp end. Now move this rounded end on your palm. Just push this rounded end on your palm. Later, just opposite end, nothing but sharp end, push this sharp end on your palm. What did you experience in this case? The thing is, when you push this sharp end on your palm, you may hurt more. The thing is, the disturbance creating on your palm will be more. So the pressure exerted in this case is more. When the sharp end is there on your palm, the pressure exerted is more here. The sharp end is nothing but area of contact is less. If area of contact is less, the pressure exerted will be the more. So the thing is, when you push this sharper end on your palm, you may hurt more, you may get hurt more. The thing is here. So the pressure created is more here. The area of contact with your palm is less, so the pressure created will be more. Let me give one more example. The porters place a turbans on their heads. To carry heavy luggage on their heads, they will place a turbans on their heads. Again, in order to increase the area of contact. Without turbans, you can also place the luggage on your head, but the pressure created will be the more in that case. When you place turbans on your head, the area of contact with the luggage will be increased. If area of contact increases, the pressure created will be the more, the pressure created will be less here in this case. So that's why the porters wear turbans on their heads in order to decrease the pressure. And you can see some heavy vehicles like trucks are having more number of tires. In order to carry heavy luggage, these heavy trucks are with more number of tires. So if you increase the number of tires, the area of contact with the surface of the road increases. If area of contact with the road increases, so the pressure created will be the less. If area of contact increases, the pressure created by these tires on the road will be less, so that the heavy vehicle can easily move on the road. So the tires may not sink into the ground. Let me give one more example. Camels can walk very easily on the deserts. It is just because of their broad foot. The broad foot, it is having more area of contact. Broad foot, I am saying, the area of contact with the sand surface will be more. So if area of contact is more, the pressure exerted by this camel on the sand surface is very less. So that's why the camels can walk very easily on the deserts. So instead of going with the horses, the people who are living in the deserts areas, they for transportation purpose they use the camels, because the camel foot may not sink into the sand because of their broad foot. Let me give you one more example. The school bags which you are carrying has broad straps, the broad straps. So when you wear it, the thing is the pressure applied, the force applied by these broad straps on the shoulders will be very less. As I said, these are the broad straps which is having more area of contact with the shoulder, so the pressure exerted is very less. If it is a thin strip, then the force which is acting on the shoulder, the pressure created will be the more. As I said, broad strips, so area of contact is more, so the pressure created is less. Okay, let me give one more example. Take a blunt knife and a sharp knife. With what knife we can cut the vegetables very easily? Of course, with a sharp knife we can cut the vegetables very easily. The sharp knife, the area of contact is very less with the vegetables. If area of contact is less with the vegetables, the thing is pressure created will be the more. Whereas in the case of blunt knife, the area of contact is more. So when you place the knife over the vegetables, the area of contact with the vegetables increases, so the pressure created will be the less. So with the help of sharp knife, we can cut the vegetables very easily when compared to the blunt knife. Okay, let me give one more example. That here I am taking two trays. Two trays which are filled with lime sand, lime powder. These two trays are filled with lime powder. Now take two bricks, rectangular bricks of same mass, or we can also say same weight. Now one brick place in this lime powder vertically like this. Place the brick over this lime powder vertically like this. In another tray, place another brick horizontally like this. Horizontally. Here vertically, here horizontally. If you place the two bricks on this lime powder, now after certain time, if you just remove, if you just take out of these two bricks, what did you observe here in this case? The thing is, in the first case, this brick sinks more depth into this lime powder, whereas the second case, it sinks but it is less when compared to the previous case. The thing is, the area of contact with the lime powder in the first case, the area of contact with the lime powder in the first case is very less when compared to the second case. So the pressure created is more here, so that's why this brick sinks more into this lime powder when compared to this second case. Whereas here the area of contact is less, the area of contact is more here in this case when compared to the first case. As the area of contact is more with the lime powder, so the pressure exerted here in this case is very less. So that's why the brick sinks into this powder but not as much when compared to the previous case. So now we can say, with the help of all these examples, we can say that where area is less, the pressure created will be the more. Where area of contact is more, the pressure created will be the less. Now let us discuss few numerical problems based on this pressure. Okay, let us discuss some numericals based on this pressure. The first numerical problem is, the surface area of an object is 20 meters square. You can see here the question. The surface area of an object is 20 meters square and a force of 10 Newton is applied on it. What is the pressure? First let me write the given data. Area solution. Area of the surface, area is equal to 20 meter square, and the force applied F is equal to 10 Newton. Then the pressure exerted is here, pressure P is equal to question mark. We know that pressure is equal to force by area. We know that pressure is equal to force by area. Just substitute these values in this formula. Before going to substitute these values in this formula, make sure that these values are there in SI system. If they are in same system, you can substitute the values. Meter square is the standard unit. Newton is also standard unit. Now you can substitute these values. So P is equal to, F value is 10, area is 20. So 10 ones are 10 twos are. So 1 by 2 is 0.5 Newton per meter square. This is the pressure exerted by this force, 0.5 Newton per meter square. I hope you understand. Let us solve one more problem. Yeah. Next question. Second question. The surface area of an object is 10 centimeter square and a force of 5 Newton is applied on it. Then what is the pressure here? What is the pressure here in this case? The given data is nothing but area is equal to, area is 10 centimeter square and force applied is 5 Newton. Now what is the pressure? P is equal to question mark. So before going to substitute these values in the formula, make sure that these values are there in same system or not. Centimeter square, here Newton. Centimeter square is the CGS unit and Newton is the standard unit. First to convert this centimeter square into meter square. So 10 centimeter square, 10 into 1 by 10,000 meter square. 1 centimeter square value is equal to 1 by 10,000 meter square. The value of 1 centimeter square is 1 by 10,000 meter square. This is substituted here, 0, 0 gets cancelled. So finally we are having 1 by 10 cube meter square. Here we have 3 zeros, so 10 cube. Now the pressure is equal to force by area. So pressure is equal to, force is 5, area is 1 by 10 power 3. So if you simplify this, you will get 5 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter square. So finally we can write P is equal to 5000 Newton per meter square. This is your answer. This is the second problem. Okay, thank you.